Hopefully, Haley, you can see me. All right, perfect. Excuse me. Okay, here we are, week 5 of marine biology. I can't believe this class is just flying by us here. We are going to, like I said, get started today talking about marine mammals. We're going to look over what we did last week, and invertebrates. However, I've decided that we're not going to spend too much time on invertebrates because I really want to make sure that we can get through the topics that I want to cover still in this class, which are marine mammals, sea turtles, and some marine ecosystems, all of which are big, exciting topics that I'm hoping we can get through. So on your whiteboard right now, you are coming up with some characteristics of marine mammals, not just marine animals, marine mammals. Your whiteboard says loading. Is anyone else getting an error on their whiteboard? No? You know what, Haley? Why don't you log out and log back in? Maybe there's an issue with the connection that you got. So go ahead and try that. Log out and log back in, and we will wait for you to go ahead and get started. Go ahead, Victoria. You have a question to start with?
Are we writing characteristics of the whale or observations or just of marine mammals just marine mammals?
Okay, great question. I do have a picture up here of a minke whale. You can write characteristics of this minke whale or observations of him, or you can just write anything that you know about characteristics of marine mammals. I just put him up here as an example, so we had something a little bit fun to look at. Great question, though. Go ahead and see if you can type now, Mallory. Okay, we're going to spend 2 more minutes doing this, and then we are going to see what we know as a class about marine mammals. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at what we have up here as characteristics of marine mammals. So we have, someone wrote characteristics of marine mammals. It looks like a big whale. Very good. It is a minke whale. They all have a spine or a vertebrae. Fantastic. They give milk to their young. Great job, Haley. I think it is a whale, and it looks like there is blubber on him. Whales definitely do have blubber. Raise your hand if you know what blubber is. All right, Haley, what is blubber? Go ahead and share with us.
It's a covering that whales and seals have to keep them warm in cold environments.
Fantastic. Great job. All right, we also have he looks big. It looks like a whale jumping on its back. It has a lighter stomach. Great job. Now, when we talked about sharks and the layers or the zones of the ocean, we talked about that having a special name when an animal is dark on its top side and light on its bottom side. Anyone remember what that special, it's actually two words, what those special two words are? The first word starts with a C. The second word starts with an S. It's when an animal is dark on his top and light on his stomach or his belly. Anyone? It's called counter shading. Okay, that was a great observation. I think it's a whale, and mammals have hair. Very good. Marine mammals have hair. Awesome. It looks like a blue whale. It has small fins, a big body, and it's darker on the bottom. Great job, Lizzie. It does look a little like a blue whale, but this one, which it's a little hard to tell from this diagram, is actually a minke whale. Fantastic job on this, everybody. We are going to go ahead and talk about marine mammals today. Now, marine mammals include all sorts of animals. Some common characteristics of marine mammals, I'm going to go ahead and put them up on this whiteboard in red. They are vertebrates, which means they have a backbone. They all breathe air. They have lungs. They have hair. They produce milk to feed their young. Oh, and Haley and Eric have written that they have swam with manatees before. That is awesome, and something that we actually tried to do last year when we were on vacation, but we could not. There were no manatees up in the springs we were at. So unfortunately, we weren't able to. That is awesome, though. Okay, so those are some basic characteristics of marine mammals. Now, we are going to spend today and next week talking about all of the different types of marine mammals. So let's go ahead and take a look at our first PowerPoint presentation. Now, I would love for you guys to go ahead and get involved, and when I ask for volunteers to go ahead and help me out. Approximately 200 million years ago, a group of air-breathing vertebrates evolved. They evolved from now extinct reptiles. They formed the phylum Chordata, the subphylum Vertebrata, which means they have a backbone, and the class Mammalia. This class Mammalia was long overshadowed by the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs outnumbered them until about 65 million years ago. There are four main characteristics of animals in the class Mammalia. Now, these are mammals that live in the water, marine mammals, and mammals that live on land. Would anyone like to share this slide with us? Anyone volunteers to read? Go ahead, Victoria.
They're warm-blooded. They have a 4-chambered heart. They have fur or hair, even if, and just a little bit if, but they all do. Mammary glands to produce milk for young.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Now, Victoria made an excellent observation. She said when she was reading about the fur or the hair that even if there's a little bit, they all have it. And that's exactly true. Awesome job. Thank you. Marine mammals. Would anyone like to read this slide? Go ahead, Braden. Braden, I don't think your microphone is on. So let's everybody double check our microphones. Go and look at your screen at the bottom left. There's the little orange wrench icon. Please click on that icon. Click microphone or audio settings. And make sure you have the correct microphone chosen. For example, I use the one that says USB headset. All right, Braden, let's try that again. Nope, unfortunately, Braden, I'm not able to hear your microphone. So you can go ahead and see if you can figure out what the problem is. And while you're doing that, Mallory, why don't you go ahead and read this slide for us?
Like the marine reptiles, the birds before them, several different types of land mammals successfully invaded the ocean. Seals, sea lions, and the walrus, order Pinnipedia, sea otter, and the polar bear, order Carnivora, manatees and dugongs, order Sirenia, whales, dolphins, and porpoises, order order Cetaceae. Was that right? 120 species altogether. Wow, that's a lot.
All right, thank you very much, Mallory. You definitely got some tough words in here. I'm just going to go ahead and the seals, they're in the order Pinnipedia. The sea otter and polar bear are in the order Carnivora. The manatees and dugongs are in the order Sirenia. And the whales and dolphins and porpoises are in the order Cetacea. You did a great job trying to get those pronunciations correct. So, high five to you. Fantastic. There are lots of species of marine mammals, and they're split into these 4 orders. We are going to take a look at the first 3 in detail today, and I'm going to introduce you to the 4th. So let's first take a look at marine mammals. Marine mammals arose from land ancestors. They have a streamlined body, which is something that we, as a class, talked about when we talked about bony fish and chondrichthyes. They have limbs that have been modified into flippers. Marine mammals have evolved a means of retaining large quantities of oxygen in their lungs and in their bloodstream in order to facilitate, which means to help, with long dives. They also have a highly concentrated urine. Now, in the United States, marine mammals, and there's some pictures here for you, are protected by two acts or two laws. The first is the Endangered Species Act of 1985. This protects lots of types of marine mammals and lots of other types of animals as well. They're also protected by the Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972. Now, this act only applies to marine mammals. These two acts work together to prohibit the capture, harming, or killing of any marine mammal. Go ahead, Mallory. You have a question?
Yes. What types? Is there different types of dolphins?
That's a great question. There are lots of different types of dolphins. Dolphins, we are going to talk about probably not even at the end of the class today. We're going to talk about whales and dolphins more next week. Today we're going to talk about seals, sea lions, walruses, polar bears, sea otters, dugongs, and sirenias, and manatees. So there are lots of types, but we will not discuss that today. If you look at this slide, you see a couple of heads bobbing in the water. These little heads are seals. They are members of the order Pinnipedia. Almost all members of this order are marine. The pinnipeds include seals, sea lions and fur seals, and walruses. Does anyone want to read this slide about pinnipeds for me? All right, Brayden, let's give yours a shot again. No, it still didn't work. Lizzie, how about if you go ahead and give this one a try? Lizzie, go ahead and give it a try. Make sure you hit the talk button.
Transport carnivore. They are predators feeding mainly on fish, squid, streamlined bodies for swimming, thick layer of fat or blubber for interluded fruit reserves, and buoyancy.
Good job. They use that thick layer of blubber or fat for buoyancy. It was a great job trying to get that. That's a tough one. Does anyone know what buoyancy is and want to help the rest of us out? It's a tricky word. Haley, go ahead.
It means like you can float or you're buoyant.
Fantastic. It means that you can float. So, for example, a beach ball is buoyant. A rock is not buoyant. Great job. Now let's look at this picture. I want you to go ahead and read the captions here. It is comparing sea lions and fur seals on the left to seals on the right. So, Victoria, you have a question?
Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. So, the seals, lions versus fur seals versus seals. The sea lions or fur seals have an external ear, a long neck, able to turn in the water, external tentacles and nail, posterior flippers that can be moved forward, anterior flippers rotated backward to support weight and keep head erect, undersurface and edge not covered with hair or nails to produce water resistance in swimming, and uses interior flippers to swim. Unlike seals, they have a short neck and no exterior ear. They have anterior flippers covered with hair, 5 toes, and sharp nails. They cannot be rotated backwards. There is no external tentacle in the male, and uses their posterior flippers in swimming. They cannot be moved forward.
Great job. Thank you very much. So that's the difference between seals and sea lions. Now I'm going to leave this up here, and I'm going to ask you some questions. Who has an external ear? I'm going to send a poll, and I want to see what it is. All right, go ahead. Who has an external ear? A seal or a sea lion? This is a tongue twister day for me today. Okay, I'm waiting for one more of you to respond. Who has an external ear? The seal or the sea lion? The sea lion. Good job. All right, let's try the next one. Who has a short neck? A seal or a sea lion? Go ahead and use the diagram and the labels up here to answer these questions. Who has a short neck? A seal or a sea lion?
Do sea lions and seals have teeth, or do they have strong jaws? Or do they swallow their prey whole?
They both have teeth. That is a great question though, Mallory. And you guys got all of you got this question right. Who has a short neck? A seal has a short neck. Great job. Here are some characteristics of seals. Would anyone who has not read yet like to go ahead and read this slide for me? Haley, go ahead.
Seals, earless pinnipeds, family Podoctidae, have 19 responsive species. Ear flippers cannot be moved forward. No external ear flap. Claws and fur on flippers. Short, robust neck.
Great job. Thank you very much. And here is a picture of a crab-eater seal. Here is a picture of a Weddell seal. Here's a picture of a leopard seal. Would anyone who has not read yet like to read about sea lions and fur seals? All right, then if you want to read and you already have read, go ahead and raise your hand. Go ahead, Mallory.
Sea lions and fur seals, eared pinnipeds, family Otteridae, have 15 representative species. Vertebral hind flippers, external ear flap, long flexible neck, no fur or claws on flippers.
Thank you very much. And here are some pictures of some fur seal and sea lions. Here we have a New Zealand fur seal lying on some rocks. Here we have some seals that are found in Long Island waters up in the northeast. We have a harbor seal, some harp seals, a hooded seal, some gray seals on the bottom, and a ring seal. Now, a walrus is something that most of us will never see. Does anyone want to read about a walrus for us? Victoria, go ahead.
Walrus, family Odobenidae. Are large pinnipeds with a distinctive pair of tusks. Both male and female have tusks and can reach 1 meter in length. Used for defense and anchoring on ice and strictly Arctic. Benthic feeder, feeds primarily on clams.
Thank you very much. Now, something one of the students in the first class of this asked today is if just that walrus can be 1 meter in length, and fortunately, just his tusk can be up to 1 meter in length. So walruses can get to be very large, and just those those big white tusks coming out of his mouth can be up to 1 meter or 3 feet long. The walrus uses his tusks to defend himself, so he'll fight with them, or she, they both have tusks. And they also use their tusks to pull themselves up onto the ice. They use them as kind of another arm or another appendage. And they take and they stick them into the ice, and they use their body to pull themselves up onto the iceberg or onto the icy beach. There are walruses in Orlando, the SeaWorld. We were actually there a little while ago, and we saw the walrus show. Sea otters and polar bears. Does anyone want to read about sea otters and polar bears? Lizzie, go ahead.
Sea otters and polar bears
Oh, I could hear you at first, and then I think maybe you hit a button. So go ahead and try again, Lizzie. Lizzie, go ahead. Make sure you hit your talk button.
What? Sea otters and polar bears are marine mammals belonging to order carnivore. The sea otter is the smallest marine mammal, which lacks a layer of blubber. Instead, the sea otter has extremely dense fur, which traps air against the body for interval hunting. For nearly to
All right, great job, Lizzie. Thank you. Now, this is a complete side note. Some of the words in these PowerPoints are kind of big and hard to pronounce if you don't know what they are. You guys are doing a great job, and you can always just go ahead and skip right over it if you can't get it. And I'll go back and reinforce it. But great job, Lizzie, for coming up. You have some really tricky words in that one. And my face seems to have froze, so I turned it off, and we'll turn it back on in a second. Sea otters are the smallest marine mammal, and they lack a thick layer of blubber like other marine mammals. However, what they do have that other marine mammals don't is they have a very dense fur, which means this fur can trap air against the body for insulation. So they use that to help them keep warm. Sea otters and polar bears are found only in the Pacific Ocean, and they have the densest fur of all animals. Sea otters, and I'll show you a picture of a sea otter in a minute. Okay, my camera, I know it's frozen. It's not unfreezing right now, so just ignore it. Just make your PowerPoint big so you can't even see me, and I'll try to get it fixed. Sea otters inhabit near-shore environments, and they dive to the sea floor to forage for mollusks, crustaceans, and echinoderms like sea stars and sea urchins. The neat thing about sea otters is they must eat 25 to 30% of their body weight every day, which is a huge amount. So here is a picture of two sea otters. Now the cool thing about sea otters is that they kind of float on their backs across the water. And when they go to eat something, they dive down, they grab the clam, whatever they're going to eat, and they put it on their stomachs. Now once that food is in their shell on their stomachs, they take out a little secret rock. When they leave their mom, she gives them a rock that it uses to crush all of its food. It takes the little rock out from under its arm and uses it to crack open the shell. Then it can eat whatever type of crustacean is hiding inside, or mollusk, is hiding inside of that shell. Okay, guys, I know that my camera's frozen, and unfortunately it does not seem to be responding to what normally fixes it for me. So I am going to go ahead and just turn my camera off. You may still see my frozen face on your screen, but if you could do me a favor and just go ahead and make the PowerPoint screen larger by clicking the arrow that goes up and points to the right, then you won't see my frozen face. And we'll talk about polar bears. So polar bears, anyone want to read about polar bears for me? Haley, go ahead.
Polar bears are semi-aquatic mammals that spend a good deal of their life drifting on the sea ice in the Arctic. They feed primarily on seals, which they stalk at breathing holes. World's largest land carnivore. Thick blubber, translucent fur, black skin, threatened by loss of Arctic sea ice.
Great job. Thank you very much. Here is an infrared picture of a polar bear. The areas where you see Hey guys, it's Mrs. Berg again. I got kicked out of the jigsaw. I'm not sure if anyone else did. You may need to, since I got kicked out, you may need to log back out and then log back in order to get the connection. So if you have an error on your screen that says need to rejoin group or something to that effect, go ahead and log out and then log back in, and I will wait right here. for you if you have that air. Thank you guys for understanding. Good news, I don't think my video's frozen anymore. It's moving on my end. Alright, it looks like everyone's back. I'm just going to go ahead and do a check to make sure that everyone can hear me. And hopefully the answer is yes to that on everyone's end. Can you hear me? Perfect. All right. Okay, so we were talking about manatees and dugongs. Does anybody want to read this slide for me today? Haley, you're up. Go ahead, Haley.
Sirenians, order Sirenia, include the manatees and dugongs. Sirenians, also known as sea cows, have a pair of front flippers but no rear limbs. Swim with up and down strokes of their paddle. Manatee or V dugong shaped tails. Closest land relative is the elephant.
Great job. Now let's take a look at these animals. Oh, Victoria, you have a question?
This whole time I've been wondering, what is a dugong?
You will see on the next slide. A dugong looks very similar to a manatee. If you check this manatee out, you will see, oh my goodness, that it has a tail that looks like a paddle. It's very rounded. Now, check out this dugong. The dugong, on the right-hand side, I circled his tail. His tail is forked. The manatee's tail was rounded. His tail is forked. Alright, I'm not sure what's up with the video, guys, so we're just not going to worry about my frozen video. Does anyone want to read this slide about manatees and dugongs? Go ahead. Oh, Brayden, go ahead and we'll try your microphone again. No, that one, it didn't work again. Haley, go ahead.
Sirenians are the only herbivorous marine mammals, feed on aquatic plants and algae. Some species live in fresh or brackish water, inhabit temperate or subtropical waters, severely threatened by motorboat collisions, harmful algal blooms, pollution, and severe winters.
All right, great job. Thank you very much. And the last slide up here is of a stellar sea cow. Now, a stellar sea cow is in the Sirenian family, but you'll never see one because they are extinct. The stellar sea cow was a very large, herbivorous marine mammal that was formerly abundant in the North Pacific. It was described by the naturalist Wilhelm Steller, which is where it got its name, in 1741. Within 27 years of its discovery, it was hunted to extinction. The stellar sea cow looks very similar to a dugong with the forked tail in the back. He can be up to 8 meters long. They feed on kelp. And scientists wonder if maybe otter hunting played a role in the extinction of Steller sea cows. Mallory, you have a question? Did you have a question, Mallory? For some reason, Mallory, I wasn't able to hear you. All right. Go ahead, Mallory. Go ahead and try again. Nope, for some reason I'm still not able to hear you. Go ahead and type your question in the text chat for me. All right, good job. They are related in some respects to dinosaurs. They weren't around quite that long ago, but they definitely could have evolved from something dinosaur-like. The idea, I wrote up here that did otter hunting play a role in their extinction? The idea that some scientists have is in the 1700s and 1800s, a way that people made a living was by hunting otters for their furs. Now, they weren't real careful with what else got killed, so scientists speculate or think that either the size of this animal, being so long, 8 meters is about 23 or 24 feet long, in the same area as the otters would have scared away some hunters. So instead of leaving where the otters are, the hunters would kill the Steller sea cows. Very good, Jamie. Herbivorous means that they eat plants. So while these animals, these sea cows, may look huge and mean and scary, they really would never hurt anybody because they are plant eaters. Just like a brontosaurus from the dinosaurs, or just like a deer that lives outside in your yard maybe right now. Yep, otters live in the euphotic zone. They need to be somewhere where they can get the light, or get the plants that they eat need to get the light. Okay, unfortunately, my camera does not seem to be working. We were going to do a little activity this week about how marine mammals eat and the different ways that they eat. If you have your supplies, go ahead and just put them to the side and we will do it next week. I agree, Eric. I hope it is not broken as well. Mallory, do you have a question?
What type of family is the extinct otter in?
Well, the otters aren't extinct. The otters are the sea otters that we talked about earlier. The Steller sea cow, which is a Sirenian, is extinct. Victoria?
What supplies are you talking about?
They were listed in the syllabus, if you go back into the syllabus on week 5. The supplies, so you'll need them for next week, are a small pan of water. I'll put them in the text chat. Small pan of water, a few pieces of cereal, some pepper, like salt and pepper, a comb, and tweezers. And if you could have those for next week, that would be fantastic. But it won't be as good if you can't see my side of it. So instead, we'll start talking about whales and dolphins today. Mallory, go ahead. If you'd like to share your characteristics with us, you certainly may. And go right ahead.
All mammals are endothermic vertebrates that have a 4-chambered heart and skin covered with fur or hair. Most mammals are born alive, and every young mammal is fed with milk produced by organs in its mother's body.
All right, great job. Thank you very much. So on the screen right now, you see some pictures of marine mammals. We're going to flip ahead here a couple slides, and we are going to look at cetaceans. Cetaceans have a couple of special characteristics. On your screen right now, you should see 3 pictures and some characteristics listed on the right-hand side. Cetaceans have a dorsal fin, which is the fin on their back. They have 2 flippers, one on either side. They're labeled in the side view, which is the top image. They have a tail with 2 flukes that are horizontal, which just means they're side by side. They have a blowhole, which is a nostril or nostrils. Some cetaceans have more than 1 blowhole. Some have 2. On the top of their head for breathing air. You are thinking right, Haley. Good job. Now, a cetacean that has 2 blowholes is a baleen whale. And you can see a picture of 2 blowholes here at the top. This is an image of a blue whale. Now, on the bottom, you can see an image of a cetacean with 1 blowhole. This is a bottlenose dolphin. The bottlenose dolphin is a toothed whale. Now, baleen whales have a cetacean. It's a type of animal. Baleen whales have baleen in their mouth instead of teeth. Baleen is flexible, fibrous plates. It's not teeth, but keratin. Keratin is the same thing that your fingernails or your hair is made up of. So they have the baleen hanging in their mouth. And here at the bottom, you can see a picture of baleen from a whale's mouth. Mallory, you have a question?
What do we do with the experiment that we're gonna do? Like with the tweezers and the pen and the comb?
Okay, well, we're going to do it next week because I said my camera wasn't working. So we're going to do that experiment next week. And we're just going to kind of simulate how baleen and toothed whales eat. But you don't need to worry about doing anything with it right now because my camera does not seem to be cooperating with me today. Go ahead, Victoria.
What type of whale is the top whale? It looks very, very interesting.
It certainly does. The top whale is a right whale. Like your right arm, left arm, it's a right whale. It is a baleen whale. You can see the baleen in the picture. He also has growths on his snout. The bottom picture is an image of a blue whale. Now if you look, if you guys could just hold on to your questions for 1 minute and let me go through the whole slide, and then if you have a question about the slide, I certainly will answer it. The baleen of the right whale is way larger than the baleen of the blue whale. If you look at the second column where it says baleen plate, that is a comparison of the size of both pieces of baleen. Okay, Mallory, if you have a question, go right ahead.
What type of teeth what type of certain teeth do they have? Like, do they have different sections of them, like sharks, like to crush up their food?
Excuse me. Well, baleen whales don't have any teeth. They have these baleen plates that hang in their mouth. And we are going to stop there for today. We will continue with baleen and toothed whales next week. Your homework for this week is up in the Moodle site, but you are going to pick any marine mammal, and you are going to do a presentation. Basically, you are making a couple of paragraphs. I want a picture of whatever marine mammal you choose, as well as some characteristics of that marine mammal. I want you to include where they live, what they eat, and what eats them. As always, if you guys have any questions, I'm going to stay on for a couple of minutes and you can ask them now. Or if you have a question on your homework during the week, you can give me a call or send me an email. I hope you guys have a great week. Lizzie, go ahead.